All right, guys. Sorry for difficulties. We are on the air. Hey, when you're trying something new, you have to go with the flow.
You
Everyone,
do.
I apologize, but we are here now and in the studio. Tuesday Night Talks. Next Tuesday, we will not be late. I see we have a couple of viewers, and what I want you to know is if you want to ask questions as I am talking with my guest, I'm going to introduce her in just a moment. Please put them in the chat, and as I see them, I will definitely ask your questions. Also, put your name just in case I do not get it does not come up properly. But guess what? This is Tuesday night live, a Tuesday night talks with Latasha Scurry, your host with the mostest, and my special guest is Toyanna Platt. She is an experienced traveler. Now, I'm going to give you a little bit of background about her. I'm going to slow it down because you need to hear everything. She has a very interesting background. Miss Toyanna Platt was born in Miami, Florida, raised by her parents in Tallahassee and then Quincy, Florida. Toyanna grew up in a very strict household, constantly being told by her dad that she is a leader and that whatever it is that she does, always be the best. This world resonates with this would resonate with Toyanna throughout her life and still does today. Toyanna's father taught her to have pride in where she comes from, her history, the beauty in herself as a Black woman, and the importance of always reaching back and giving back in any capacity she could. Toyanna believes that God and family comes first. Life has taught her to be a loving and supportive mother, partner, daughter, sister, and friend. Her educational foundation began at Florida A&M University. Go Rattlers! Where
Woo!
she computer science and later earned a bachelor's degree in business administration from the University of Phoenix. Her career began in state government and led her to corporate America. Throughout her career, the one constant has been fighting against favoritism, racism, discrimination, bigotry, and hate. As a Black woman in an environment that has been not been welcoming, and where she has often been the only person of color and only woman, it has not been easy to gain success. Toyanna has and continues to work hard to thrive and create an environment where others could have an opening to find success and thrive well. Welcome, Toyanna.
Good evening. Good evening. Thanks for having me. And I
Yes.
also happen to be the hostess with the mostest cousin.
All right, yay! I want to thank my cousin, my beautiful and talented cousin, for being here because one thing that I've noticed is that she travels. She travels a lot. So some of us ladies and gentlemen can learn from her experiences. That she's been places that I've never even heard of. So or even thought of going. So tonight we're going to talk about her domestic and abroad travels. So we're going to jump right in since we're a few minutes late. Cousin, how do you prefer to travel, solo or with someone else?
Absolutely with family, with people, friends and family.
So how do you choose your traveling companions? Oh, that's a good one.
Oh wow. And it evolves and it changes, but just I put it out there for everyone within my circle, and then those who are responsive, that's who end up being the travel group. I put the information out there. I don't like to keep following up. If you want to roll, we roll them, type
So
of
you got to
vibe.
be ready to go. Have the
Got to be
duckies
ready.
ready and your passport ready as well. I like it.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
what goes into your planning experiences? Financial prep all the way to landing on the soil.
Well, the one thing that I do always consider is cost, and I want to make sure that we travel safely.
Hmm.
But that old saying, we're gonna ball on a budget. So we want to travel to a degree of luxury but
Yes.
affordable. So I'm always looking at best times to fly, best times to travel. So I research the destination,
Hmm.
look at when it's not high season but a good time to travel,
Okay.
and then I look at different websites on ratings and things to do. So that's where I really start.
Oh, you know what? I'm gonna your next trip. I'm gonna put it out there.
Mm.
Include me.
Uh-huh.
include me.
Okay.
Include me.
All
Okay.
right.
what does it look like when you're choosing your destinations? How long do you plan on staying? What's the shortest trip you've made, and what's the longest trip you've made?
I think the shortest trip has been about 6 days, and I think that was to Aruba.
Wow.
Um, 5
So
6 days, I think was
you
Aruba.
don't plan on any short trips. You plan on going.
If they're international, absolutely. Just because international trips, the travel time is always, a long travel. So you want to make sure you have time to get there, rest, maximize everything you want to do, and then be able to get back. So I always try to go like a middle of the week,
Hmm.
include a weekend, and come back the beginning of the following week, so it maximizes days.
For non-travelers, we
Mhm.
all know that they need a passport. How long does it take to get a passport? Where do they go to get a passport? What do they need?
Passports right now seem to be a little bit delayed, but they're starting to pick back up. So normally you can get a passport if you go to your local clerk of court's office. It's
Hmm.
faster than the post office, so I
Oh, okay.
recommend clerk of courts versus post office.
Okay.
It happens a lot faster. You can get a passport back in 4 weeks normally,
Okay.
um, without doing expedited,
So
and you can generally get it back.
before traveling, this traveling pandemic, how much are passports running for those who are not travelers?
Um, about $170, you can get your passport.
Okay. So, guys, if you're planning your next trip, plan early, include the cost of your passport because to go abroad, you're going to need it and you need that $170. And that's if it hasn't gone up. When did you first get your passport? So that they'll know how long it's been, just in case
It
the price has risen.
Yeah, it's been about 8 9 years, maybe even
Okay.
10 years, because I just did a renewal. So
Okay.
the renewal was about 150-ish,
Okay.
somewhere in there. Yeah,
No.
so it hasn't gone up that much. Yeah, it's
Okay.
still under $200 to get your passport.
All right. So everyone who's planning on traveling, well, whenever we can travel again, just make sure you have your passport and you have to include the price of it, roughly $175 to $200. All right, we're gonna go on jump right into some of your specific traveling experiences. Let's talk about domestic here on the home soil. Name some of the domestic travels destinations that you've gone to.
Oh wow! So I've gone to New Orleans, Las Vegas, New
Wow.
York,
Yes.
California, Colorado, Cleveland.
Oh my
Um,
goodness.
wow, yeah, lot of
So
little
is
places.
your
New
plan to hit
Jersey.
all 50 states? Is that what it is?
Not necessarily all 50. Not necessarily interested in all 50.
Okay.
But definitely want to pursue domestic. There's a few more that I want to hit on my list. I've not done Houston. I've done
Okay.
Texas, but not Houston. So Houston
Okay.
is on my list just for I'm a food connoisseur, so I
Yes,
definitely
I
got
do
to
know that.
hit the eating spots in Houston. But that's on my list as well.
Okay. So far in the United States, what's your favorite destination?
I would have to say LA.
Oh,
My friend and sister,
yes.
Rita, she lives in LA, and our first trip out there, I mean, she showed us an amazing time. The weather is beautiful, the people are beautiful, and I just love the vibe. LA is always a good time. I've been a few times, and I love it. I love LA.
That's not one place that I've gone before. Is it really expensive as they think it, as everyone thinks it is?
It is not. It depends on how you want to travel and what you want to do when you get there, right? I've done it on both ends. I've done it and had a great time when it was a girls' trip, and we stayed with Rita, so we didn't really have to worry about accommodations. And I've gone in a couple scenario where we did accommodations,
Hmm.
and we stayed in an area that was a little bit more pricey, but still was a great time.
Okay.
So, I mean, today you have Airbnbs,
Right. Right.
and so and if it's a group, you can spread the cost around, and so you can make it affordable.
So when you got to LA, what's some you being a food connoisseur? What types of food did you find out there, and what did you like? Because I know you can bake. cook, you can do it all. So the competition is enormous out there when it comes to food. So tell me, what was the best thing you eaten while you was in LA?
So, I will say that my palate is a little bit different, right?
Okay.
In that, I have a rule with my family. You have to try food and you can't say what you don't like unless you try it. So, first trip to LA, maybe 10 years ago, a friend of Rita's took us to this Vietnamese restaurant and it was authentic.
Okay.
And it was amazing. It was
Oh,
flavorful, it was fresh
what?
ingredients, and it was
Okay.
really, really good. It was really
I was
good.
not expecting that. I was not expecting
Yeah,
you to say that. I was
yeah,
really expecting
yeah,
you to say something different.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
I did the traditional. I did Roscoe's Chicken and Waffles, but
Okay.
what was the most impressive was the Vietnamese restaurant.
Oh,
It was
that's
really
great.
authentic. Hmm.
Okay. So now listen, we know domestically LA is your favorite.
Hmm.
Let's name some of the places you've been abroad. Let's talk about those.
Oh wow! So I've done Paris, I've done Germany, I've done Italy. We did Rome, Venice, and Milan. I've done Dubai.
Okay.
I've
Everybody, that's
done
my background. Dubai.
um, I've done Aruba, Jamaica. The Cayman Islands, that
Ooh,
type of stuff.
yeah.
Bahamas.
Yes. Okay. So now you know the question. You know the question.
I do.
What's the favorite of all of your destinations out there? What's your favorite?
Dubai, and I must
Dubai.
go back. Dubai, and I did not have enough time.
Okay.
We I mean, I plan out the trip before we go. We do excursions. I plan that. We pay for that before we go. So when we travel, everything is paid for by the time we get there, except for food and shopping. And in some
Okay.
instances, depending on what we're doing, food is even paid for because certain activities is a part of it. So, but
Okay.
yeah, Dubai is phenomenal.
So I think you and I had a conversation off camera. You said Dubai is the friendliest of all the abroad places you have. The people are the friendliest.
Yes, yes. I
So
mean,
go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was gonna say Germany was really good. The people there were really friendly. But Dubai was very welcoming. We did a luxury Airbnb townhouse. We
Mhm.
was in the middle of everything. Our host was so cool that he saw that we were like paying for taxis and travel, and he said, "Oh
Okay.
no, that's," he said, he gave us the keys to one of his vehicles, so we actually got a van, and
Wow.
yeah, so it was amazing. Dubai, you must go to
See,
Dubai.
when I think of Dubai, correct
Hmm.
me if I'm wrong, camels, sand, dust. That's what I think about.
So there is that, but you have to go to get to that. I will tell you when you think of Dubai, you should think of they have endless money. They have money that will outlast. Listen, they can buy and sell countries. They have
Oh
that much
wow.
money.
Okay.
So
Okay.
they have everything and they have the biggest of everything. So wherever you go, there's a place inspired in Dubai. So if you go to Dubai, you'll see an area that's inspired by New York or Paris or
Oh,
everything
okay.
that you can think of that's famous in any country, they have it. And Dubai is clean and
Okay.
beautiful and oh
Okay.
my goodness. Yeah, Dubai
So
is amazing.
so when we're talking about Dubai, I've seen some of your photos online.
Yeah.
Um, do you necessarily have to dress like that?
No, so if you notice, the only place that I was dressed in an appropriate garb was when we visited the mosque. So it's Muslim culture, and so you have to be respectful for. So when you're visiting the mosque, yes,
Okay.
you do have to dress that way.
Okay.
Outside of the mosque, um, especially in Dubai, you can dress however you want. The mosque we visited was in Abu Dhabi. Abu
Oh,
Dhabi is a little
yeah.
bit more conservative,
Okay.
and the mosque that we visited, the temples there, they are conservative, and you do have to put on the garb, the hijab, and be covered.
So now here it is. You're from America. When
Hmm.
you're planning these trips, do you do your homework first?
Absolutely, I want
Okay.
to be safe.
Okay.
I want to make sure I look at the crime rate.
Ooh,
I
good,
look at
good
the
tip, everyone. You hear that? Look at the
yeah,
crime rate.
look at the
Okay.
crime rate. I look at the tips of how to travel, what to plan for, the do's and don'ts.
Okay.
I look at even with the weather,
Okay.
insects, the
Okay.
food,
Wow.
all of that. Yes, I look
See,
up all of that.
this takes great planning skills. I think this has to do something with your job. You're a project manager. So you plan out things on your job. So when it's time to go on a trip, they put you in charge, don't they?
Listen, so it's so bad that when I plan these trips, I do an agenda, and I
Okay.
say I say here's the things that I want to do. What do
Okay.
you want to do? Because you don't have to do everything that I plan to do on this trip,
Okay.
and you
Okay.
can certainly add things that are on your wish list because it's
Okay.
it's about everyone. And then I make a final agenda, and
Mhm.
then from day one, sun up to sundown, breaks, rest time, all of that I put in an agenda that I
Wow.
that I give out. So yeah, it's that
So
detailed.
what's the largest group of people you've gone with on any trip?
I think the largest actually was domestic, and it was in Breckenridge in Colorado because I always wanted to go skiing. And
Oh no, not
so
me.
my first trip to Breckenridge, I think it was like 11 of us
Okay.
in the mountain, and then my second largest trip was back up in the mountains, but at Keystone Mountain. It was a little lower altitude because Breckenridge was pretty high up the mountain. But I enjoyed that. I enjoyed the snow and skiing, and yeah,
Okay.
it was fun.
Now we got plenty of comments. Everybody's saying great analysis, amazing, safe. I know you can't see them, but I just want everybody to know that I just want you to know that people are commenting, and thank you for
Okay.
your comments. But if you want me to say you personally, throw your name in there because with Facebook users, it does not include your name, so you have to give it permission. So if you want me to give you a shout out, please throw your name up there in the chat box, and I'll make sure that Mrs. Platt knows who's with us tonight. Now, I'm not leaving Dubai yet
Okay.
because I've never gone. I want to
You
know the
must,
food. What do we
and I'm
eat?
going back.
What do we eat in Dubai?
Dubai eats whatever you want to eat. They have it. The one thing culturally, Muslims don't eat pork, right?
Okay,
So you won't find a lot of that on the menu.
okay.
I will tell you the one thing that you learn in eating in other countries is their food is a lot cleaner because everything in essence, if you think about it, is pretty much organic, right? Because
Okay.
the the things that we do to our food in this country, they don't do, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the food is really really clean. I will tell you. So I cooked breakfast in Dubai at our apartment, and um, breakfast is the
Hi,
easiest
cousin
meal,
Sherry. I
and
know
it could be
she
expensive.
went on this trip with you, so she knows.
She did. And so I bought some eggs, right? And
Okay,
listen, I don't eat beef or pork, so I was in heaven,
okay,
right?
okay.
My cousin Linda, another story. She's finicky eater, but that's another conversation. But when I cracked the eggs, it was like what they were weird because they looked fresher. They looked more yellow. I'd not
Okay.
seen eggs like
Eggs
that,
like
right?
that.
But
Okay.
and the food tastes so fresh, and it was really different to
You are
taste food
putting
that
me there right now. I'm hungry. Okay, don't do
yeah,
this.
the food was great. They every restaurant that's in the US or
Mm-hmm.
Paris or wherever you could think of,
Really?
they have it in Dubai. They have Burger King and McDonald's, they have the Hooters. I mean, whatever you could think of, they have it.
Okay. Okay, so I have a question. In your domestic travels, have you found that there are great destinations or state sites that can be considered hidden gems that that we haven't really discussed? Or I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. This girl does not like to get in a plane and fly. I don't like to take off. So I like to go in a car. And my husband is really upset with me about that. Hey, Shanda, how you doing? So the question was again, in your domestic travels, have you found out there are great destinations or state sites that can be considered hidden gems?
Um, I, I would honestly have to go back to Colorado, right?
Okay.
Because there's some hot springs that I had intended to visit,
Okay.
that I didn't get a chance to do that I wanted to do. There is just so much. You think of the snow and how cold it could be in December or
That's why I'm
January.
not going. Okay.
Um, but they have amazing hot springs that we just ran out of time for on my agenda, because I do an agenda for everything. But I will tell you, as a Florida girl, never growing up in snow, it was
Hmm.
always my desire to, be in the snow and try out skiing. I always want to do things that I've not done before. And I'm competitive in nature, so I want to try things and I want to be good at it. But I love Colorado. I love being up in the mountain, in the snow, in the cabins, and breaking bread with friends and family, and just um, enjoying it. I did ice skating. It's really cool. I love the snow. I will
Okay.
say Colorado.
See, I'm not that girl. If it gets below 72 degrees in my house, I have on a blanket with socks. I'm bundled up, and everybody's looking at me crazy.
You'd be surprised.
But okay, here again, you had to do your research for Colorado
Yes.
clothing.
Yes. So
Where did
again, I listen, Travelocity, Google, I'm on all kind of sites. That's the beautiful thing about technology and internet world, is there's so many bloggers and so many travelers that they give you
Mhm.
the tips of what to do to don't. So what the do's and don'ts. So I create a list, I send it
Okay.
out I create an agenda of what we're gonna do. I look at price for rentals of ski equipment. I even go so far as to talk about the little warmers, inserts that you can put in your gloves and in your
Uh-huh.
socks. I
Yep.
mean, I'm at a micro level in planning, because I want you to understand what the experience is going to be, what the weather is, and how you need to
Yes.
be prepared. So
Yes.
long johns, all
Yes.
of that.
Ugh. So you got some. Colorado is beautiful, amazing. Cousin Shay says she loved it. I
Yes.
did have another question. Have you traveled much since the pandemic? And if so, have you found it to be stressful?
I have traveled during the pandemic. I changed jobs in the middle of the pandemic, which was a to do in itself. But I traveled back and forth to Virginia when no one was really traveling. And
Mhm.
honestly, um, you know, I'm a healthy person. I take my vitamins, but I'm always safe. And so, at first I traveled, listen, I had a whole gear. I had my throwaway mask, my cloth mask. I had, my wipes, my little mini Lysol and wipes, and so I've never had COVID. I did not find it stressful because I was prepared to be
Okay.
safe.
Okay. So I guess it's like just doing your homework for anything
It
else.
is.
It's doing your homework. Well,
Yep.
I don't want to say. I have a couple of more questions that I want to ask you, but
Sure.
some of them I hope you just don't look at me sideways, okay?
Not at all.
All
Never.
right. So we've already talked about the place that had the friendliest people. I'm going to ask you about one of your places because I've never gone, and it's on my mind. Germany.
Yes.
Talk to me about Germany. What do you find interesting about Germany?
So, just the people are very friendly. The architecture. We went during Christmas,
Okay.
so they had this whole Christmas theme
Okay.
where there was all these vendors with all this amazing food and trinkets, and it was just an amazing and they do it every year. I can't think of the name of it now. It's been a while, but it the people are very friendly. They're welcoming, and the culture and the food. I
So
enjoy.
on these trips, you've taken your daughters a lot, haven't you? Is that important that you took your daughters on these trips?
Absolutely, absolutely. So, my youngest has been pretty much on every trip. The
Wow.
older two, not as many, just because my middle one is in the military, so she couldn't
Okay.
always get off. And
Right.
then same with the oldest, job just wouldn't allow it. And we always did primarily during spring break,
Okay.
right? And so, as a parent, my family opened up a lot for me, and so
Okay.
I wanted to do that next step by opening up the world to my family, and I wanted them to see that there's a huge world out here. And being black and from a small town does not
Yep.
limit your exposure to this world,
Yep.
right? And
Yep.
so, you'd be surprised just how much eye-opening the experience is just to share it with other people.
Right.
So yeah, my kids are always included, and at least one is always with me.
Okay. And I say
And my
that because
mom,
yes. Oh
my
yes,
mom,
cousin Sandra. So
my mom.
as an educator, one of the things I find is that there are students who never leave the city that they're born in. And
Yeah,
so if even if they can't go, they can get this experience shared through somebody else. Okay.
yeah,
And to be honest, kids today don't dream anymore. They don't imagine anymore. So that's why they don't reading is not fun to them because they cannot imagine these places. But if they
yeah,
can close their eyes and have you tell them this experience, I think our kids will want to improve in their aspects of life. I just think that we as adults, we have to put that in front of them. And I
they
am
do.
applauding my youngest one right now who's on this excursion. She's supposed to be doing
Yes.
college and she wants to go to every city in the United States of America right
I
now.
love it. I love it, and I want her to travel on some of our trips. She already knows she has an open invitation,
I
and
got
I've
a
already
call
told her to get that
yesterday.
passport because yes,
Mom, I'm going to New York in December.
yes, good.
Okay. She went with a friend of mine, Tammy Robinson. Thank you, Tammy. They went to, oh, where did they go? Wherever the golf tournament is, I forgot, Kentucky somewhere. That I was just like, really? And I was just like, okay. And she was just like, she was thrilled when she came back. She was like, Mom,
Yeah.
Tennessee. She was like, this was amazing. I want to go back. I want to go back. I said, okay, have fun. Okay, so back to you. What destination have you found, and nothing bad on any city or country, to be overrated?
So I will do domestic and abroad. I will
Okay.
say that abroad, Rome
Oh,
was off-putting. I take that back. Rome was not off-putting. It was just it's beautiful, but not necessarily as friendly. I would say
okay.
I loved Venice, even though that was my worst experience is on the train leaving Venice to Milan because um, my luggage was stolen. Um, and
Uh,
yeah, so I had what was
how do
on
you prepare for your luggage being stolen?
you don't, but let me tell you something. You wrote what I've learned in life is that anything material I can get back.
Okay.
So my family was unharmed. We were never at risk.
Okay.
I called my cousin Linda Debbie Designer because the chick has everything designer, and I believe that we were targeted in the
Okay.
hotel.
Okay.
Which I did tell my family, don't bring all your designer things because I
Okay.
had searched that and
Okay.
knew that you don't bring that stuff.
Okay.
So my bag happened to be next to her bag, and they
Mm-hmm.
took her bag and then came back for mine. So
Wow.
that was not a good experience. But I will tell you, my favorite city in Italy was Venice. And I'm a shopper. I love
Okay.
Milan. We took a day trip over to Sweden and did some shopping. So Sweden was added to my list because the countryside is beautiful. So I want to go back
Okay.
there.
Okay.
But yeah, it was not a good experience in Rome. Beautiful, but just a different vibe. And then I would say domestically, um, New York. Like New York is
Ooh, New Yorkers.
amazing, but
Uh-oh.
but New York can be grimy and dirty, and you have to have it's a reminder of have and have nots, right? And
Okay.
being from Florida and seeing impoverished communities in Florida versus seeing impoverished communities in a huge city, metropolitan city,
It's a
it's a night
difference.
and day. Now
Okay.
but I love New York as well to visit and shop.
Yeah.
But
To live, not,
yeah,
and I would have nothing taken away from New York, but I would imagine it's in the city that you're saying, because my sister-in-law is from New Rochelle and she loved it. It's
yeah,
on the
yeah.
outskirts. It's
Oh
not,
yeah,
but
I'm definitely talking about the
in
city.
New York City. Okay, all right, nothing. New Yorkers, don't look us up. Okay, that's just her
I'm
opinion.
just not gonna live there. I will visit and go back. I've been several times. I've taken the kids. I love New York, just not to live.
Right there, you go. So, what is, other than your luggage being stolen? Is there any scariest moments you've had on either one of these trips?
No,
Okay,
not
good, good.
not a
That's
one. Which
amazing.
is yeah, it's amazing. I've never felt unsafe
Okay,
in any of my travels.
okay, great. And that's due to her doing her homework again. All right. So, embarrassing moments.
Ooh, probably falling down the mountain in the snow in Colorado.
Oh God. So it's your
Yeah.
place you want to visit, but it's also the place that you had your most embarrassing moment.
But I loved it. It was embarrassing but funny because I was surrounded by some amazing friends and family, and we laughed about it. We all had falling moments, so we were embarrassed together. I insisted that everyone had to take this ski class. You didn't have to, after the class, you didn't have to come take the lift and come down the mountain, but you at least
And then it's needed to
had
have.
to do the
Okay.
class. And
Smart.
it was hilarious.
Smart.
Yeah, it was hilarious. We all fell. Um, and yeah, it was entertaining.
Well, we're about to wrap up, but I have two more questions for you. If anybody else have any questions for her, please go ahead and drop them in the chat box. If not, we'll get back to you and answer them later.
Okay.
All right. What place is on the top of your bucket list that you haven't gone to yet?
So the pandemic spoiled my 50th.
Oh,
So
sorry.
I was supposed to go to South Africa, fly into Cape Town, and
Okay.
then stay in Cape Town,
Okay.
and then fly to Johannesburg, and then fly back from Johannesburg. And I had this
Okay.
whole itinerary planned out. Even the restaurant called the Gold Room in Cape Town was going
Ooh.
to be where my birthday dinner was. But yeah, South Africa, I got to go to the motherland.
Okay.
Um, that is my next up, and then my baby girl wants to go to Greece.
Okay.
So next year we are doing South Africa, and we're going to try to do Greece, both in that trip.
My husband, I have said Africa, because before my mom passed away, that was her dream, and he does not want to go abroad. He Every time I get some friends or
Hey,
family, yes, Henry Scurry, Hanky does not want to go abroad. So guys,
cousin.
right. If you can get your husband to call him or somebody else to call him and let him know it's okay, please do so. All
Yeah.
right. Final question for you, unless you have something that you just want to share with us. I don't mind. Just jump right in there. What is the best travel advice you can give those planning on mapping out their next travel experiences?
I would just start with researching where you want to go. Understand the culture so you're prepared, the
Mhm.
do's and don'ts, and definitely the best time to visit that city, that country. Because I'll give you Africa as an example. Summer in Africa is our winter. So the best time to go to Africa is actually December, January, February, right?
Oh,
The worst time to go is actually our summer months because
okay.
the weather is not good. So understanding where you're going,
Mm-hmm.
understanding the best time to go, the
Okay.
do's and don'ts, do your research, and then plan what you want to do.
Mm-hmm.
Plan for some impromptu time, but
Okay.
plan on what you want to do and try to purchase as much of your excursions in advance that you know you
Okay.
want to do.
Okay. I did miss some comments.
Okay. Well,
Don't be scared of New York. It rocks.
it does. It does.
Manhattan, especially, people are just don't want you hating on New York. And
Listen, I stayed in Manhattan in New York. It is beautiful, but when the lights went out and the
uh-huh,
restaurants closed, I just saw trash in the street, and it was just, listen, it was just different because coming from Florida, I'd
Okay.
not seen that, right?
Okay. Okay.
So it was just when the lights went off and everything closed up, it was just a little different experience.
Okay.
Don't get me wrong, I love visiting the city. I love shopping there. I love visiting the restaurants and exploring. I have friends that live there, and I've had some great memories when the 4040 Club first opened
Okay.
with Jay-Z. My
Okay.
girls and I went. So I have some great experiences in New York. I just don't want to live there.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for joining us. I am going to say next Tuesday I do have another guest. Her name is Deborah Wheeler Allen, and she is going to be talking about raising a son, an African American male, as a single mom in this day and age. So please join us at 7. And I think I have worked out the kinks. I'm sorry, guys, for coming on here late. I realized some things this experience has taught me, and as I move on, hopefully I get better. And I am not. This lady in front of us has a lot to offer, a lot to talk about. She's very well spoken, so she will be back. So look again, guys. You just check my Facebook posting, my Facebook group. I am strength. Ladies, invite whomever you want to. It is a forum for ladies, empowering ladies. And I did open this up to all of Facebook, but the guest announcements will be aired in I Am Strength. I have been thrilled. I have learned a lot. She's not just my cousin. She's a beautiful African American lady who is very talented, well spoken, and well traveled. Thank you for being my guest. All right.
My pleasure. I love you.
Yes, ma'am. I love you back. And guess what? Stay tuned. Good night. We'll see you next week.
Good
Bye.
night. Bye.
Yes.